everybody, and welcome to the Sweet Spot Global Leadership Summit, where we are speaking all week about how visionary organizations and leaders can thrive from the inside out so that they can truly make a powerfully positive difference in the world. And I'm so excited to have the lovely Aida Hysi here with me. And we've had the honor of working together this past year, and it's been incredible to get to know her, to understand who she is as a leader, and to see the amazing impact that she's having not only in her team, but within her organization, and the impact that her nonprofit organization is having in the world. So Aida, welcome. I can't wait to hear from you today.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I'm so delighted to be here with you today, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, I think everybody's going to really love hearing about your topic. I know you're wanting to talk to us about bringing joy into the challenging times. And I know right now, especially lately, the last few years have been unusually challenging for most of us. So maybe we can just jump right into the topic, and you can tell us about bringing joy and what that's meaning for you.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, this past few years have been really challenging, and I guess challenging not only here in Canada, but throughout the world, as your global summit is for around the world. So it's been challenging in so many levels, in terms of personal level, because things are very painful sometimes when we lose a loved one, and sometimes because you're going through a disease. But it's also challenging from a professional level as well, because all the personal come into a professional level, and depending on the different challenges that you had in your career because of the changes, going from an in-person to a virtual working has been really, really, really challenging this past year. So one thing that has really been very significant, and I think I have been stopped and thought about a lot this past years, is about the level of anxiety and fear, and all this challenging coming and creating an environment where you cannot produce your best self. Because of the anxiety and the fear, you keep thinking about things that you're not going to be perfectly doing, things that you have never done before, things that you're afraid of. So you're living in a world where you're constantly thinking about, oh, this is not going to work, this is not good for me. And so this has kind of really made me think about, as a leader, but also as a person, how can we stop and think, and how can we produce our best self, as I mentioned. So the one thing that has been really, really in my mind lately, and I've thought a lot about, is how can you bring joy to your everyday life, and bring it in a personal level, which also will help you as a leader in your professional level. The moment that you think about joy, your fear disappears, and you think you're grateful about where you are, you accept where you are, and then you think about things that can really make you feel open up and feel like you can be creative, you can be bring in more choices, bring in more opportunities in your life, not only, as I mentioned, personally, but also working with your team, with your colleagues. And so also be more forgiving, being more open, looking into opportunities more so than challenges. So this is what has really spoken to me lately in terms of these challenging times.
Well, I love that, and it's such a great summary. And I think what I'm hearing from you, what jumps out just from what you've said is, we've been oftentimes surrounded by fear. At one point, we were running out of fuel in the city, and I was surprised, because normally I can be pretty good, but that got me, and it was surprising. And but what I hear you're saying is, by focusing on joy, it changes the situation. Well, maybe not change the situation, but it changes how you are reacting to it.
Absolutely. And it comes to, really being grounded and self-care, because self-care can bring joy, because you can really ground yourself in what is really going on, and how can I, and also thinking about it, maybe not personally you and I, but other people have gone through difficult times in the past, and so they have overcome them, and so this is why you need to think from it from a positive perspective, but also thinking about that, even living the moment, it should be joyful. You should live it with your everything, you and then the moment that you kind of do not let fear come in, and you ground yourself and you accept things for what they are, but also looking into the positive that will come, then everything in your life you think is coming in a different level. Things start flowing through a different level, a different perspective. And as I mentioned, again, different way of finding a solution. Things sometimes they just come into your mind because you have an open mind. You do not think all the time, oh my God, this is something wrong. Nothing is coming out of good into this period. And we always, if you reference back to the history as well, if you see after, and it's a cycle of life, after difficult times, great times will come, good times will come. This shall pass too. And it's the same, from a professional perspective, as you think about the life of a product, you kind of have a great life of product, then you kind of maintain the product, then the product dies, and then something else comes in, a new product. Same thing in the personal level, yes, things are going on, maybe not the way we wanted it, not the way we expected it, but we need to accept them for what they are. But we should also have the joy of living the life, because after the rain, the sun will come. So this will also impact the way you process emotionally things that come into your life. And rather than you shut down and look into things with negativity, and also not being cooperative in the way maybe you used to with friends and family and also colleagues and your teams, this allows you to be more open, accept the fear, accept the things that you feel other people don't want you to see, because we always, particularly in leadership role, you really want to always show strength, and you want to lead others with positivity. This also helps you to accept where you're weak when you're weak, but also give the message to the team that yes, this is where we are, but we're going to be doing better, and we're going to be doing much more. We will be more strong together as we go through these challenging times. So
that sounds like it integrates in all aspects, I guess, is what it sounds like you're describing to me, is, even if it is a challenging time, knowing that it's going to pass is helpful. So it sounds like looking at that as one aspect that you're suggesting can help, but then also starting your day with joy.
Exactly.
Is where it makes a difference.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, joy of living the day, joy with being with other people. Yes, we're not there, personally in person, but we have been flexible in shifting from, working in the office, from working from home, from virtually. And this is a great way of, kind of incorporating that this is because of joy. If we were in the fear and we were not thinking about these new options, then it's not going to be as good. So just keep the joy in the table as we speak, and open up your ability of understanding that there is more than the challenge that is in front of you. The challenge is not there for you to be afraid of. The challenge is not there for you to raise your hands and say, that's it for me. And the challenge is there so that you can understand that something maybe needs to change.
That's a huge point. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the way I'm seeing the whole challenge is you accept it. You kind of come from the places I mentioned of joy, because at that point where you really open up, then things are going to be really clear for you. When you're confused, when you're anxious, where you're fearful, this is when you always make the mistake of, letting go, not giving your best. And so sometimes even going in a path of having problems with your mental health, being physically down. But this is not the reason why the challenge is here. So we need to accept it from that level so that you can really understand why we have this challenge here. And as I mentioned, maybe this is the time for us to change something. We need to maybe birth something. We need to bring in something new into the life. But you can also always bring new things with joy, and this is when you're going to really enjoy what comes out of it.
Well, and I can imagine, I know personally, but what you're describing for the people that are listening, making a decision from a place of joy versus overwhelm or burnout or fear and anxiety will perhaps change drastically the choices we make or what we choose to do and how we choose to handle things.
Absolutely. And I guess this is the I find the best time for people to really think about their life, their choices, be it on a professional level, be it on a personal level. I personally, for example, have been running around with the kids forever, when kind of before COVID hit, and trying to go places and run here, run there. And I guess in a way, COVID made me stop and think, is all of this something that is needed? Do the kids really need to go into so many places, or can I spend more quality time with them at home or even outside? Same thing, with things in the house, same things with the projects you have, same thing with your career. Am I in the right place? Are the things that I want to do the things that really will give me joy? Are the things that will grow me? Are the things that, or am I just doing it from maybe a comfort level because I'm comfortable with what I'm doing? I've been doing it for a long time. Do I need to change things? Am I growing? Or am I still, kind of being in a place where I was 10 years ago? What do I want to explore? Do I want to make more money, or do I want to explore world more? So these were choices that this challenging time has brought into our plate, and I think everybody is in the same place, and we can see a lot going on in the world today with the Great Resignation, and people really trying to really balance their life more in between work and life balance, so I think this is in a way, that's why I think we need to go from a place of joy, because these are happening the way I would like to see it for our good. These are not happening to us, these are happening for us. So we need to make changes into our lives.
Well, and I'm hearing you say, using that joy as almost like a measurement to say, is this still working? Is it bringing me joy? And if it isn't, then how can we improve things or shift things, whether that's at work or in your personal life, to really better support you.
And as a person, we always do things better when we enjoy them. Some people like to cook, some people don't like to cook. So the people who like to cook, their food tastes better than the people who don't like to cook.
So true. Yes.
Same thing in our professional careers. We have people who are really good with what they do, and we are amazed with the speed that they can, either close a project, or the perfectionism and the accuracy that they can do things. And then we have people who might have exactly the same designation, who might, fall behind and not compared. And if you really, really go down deep into what is causing this, is like, some people are coming from a place of joy and enjoyment of what they do, and some people are coming from a place where this is a career, I chose it, I'm doing it, maybe I'm not enjoying it.
That's a huge point. And what I'm wondering, maybe as we're sort of looking to close, it's a point that I think is sort of a next level, is then if we as leaders are tapping into our joy in our personal, professional life, how do we then help others do that? Is that something that you found? Are you bringing that into your leadership as well, or is that more for your personal piece?
Absolutely. And one thing that I think, particularly in the ways that we're living today, and we're a little bit isolated in terms of, doing things out with other people and kind of an in-person. I find coaching is a very important thing, and I really wanted to thank you, Sarah, for being my coach this past year. It
It's
has
been an
been
honor.
amazing. It has
Thank
been
you.
amazing, and I
Mhm.
can see myself. Maybe things were inside me altogether all time, but I think it's a way that it helps you really truly bring the best in you by understanding, and maybe things that are in your subconscious coming, you're becoming aware they exist for you, what you exactly want, how you can deal with certain things, and why you are behaving the way you are behaving. Yeah, that's a great opportunity for people to really look into programs like yourself and see, if a coaching can help, particularly during this time, because it's a different perspective, it's a fresh perspective, so it definitely helps.
And I think always having that support and that reflection, especially if people are not in that joy space, to kind of find that exploration sometimes can take some time, and to be able to get support of a coach or a mentor, or somebody in your professional life can really help accelerate that process for sure.
Absolutely, and maybe even guide you in not only from a reading perspective or other resources perspective, but also open doors in kind of networking with similar people, be it in a sector, industry, or even from a personal level where you share similar in I don't know, skills, things you like. So yeah, it's very helpful.
Well, I've really enjoyed this talking with you, Aida, about joy, and it's something that I think is crucial, as you've described today, about how that impact can have in everything that you're doing in your family life and your professional life, in your own kind of career satisfaction, and that just a general joy for being alive. so I think that if anybody listening here, I'm sure they're taking a lot of really inspirational tips here, and a reminder to take the time to really tap into that in the mornings. I'm wondering, as we're closing, if there's any kind of final thoughts you're wanting to share around this joy piece.
Again, as I mentioned, Sarah, I would say do whatever. I find people need to follow their heart, and use their intuition and tap in their self-care more and more, because I find with our busy lives and busy schedules and busy modern running around all the time 24/7 with everything we do, and we want to do it in a fraction of a minute, sometimes it's worth it to really take those 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes for you to really ground, get yourself into a place where you start your day with being thankful, being grateful, bringing the joy for yourself, for others, and it's a ripple effect. Then you'd see that others will turn around with the same to you, and it's going to be a more enjoyable experience.
So I guess that was my, final question. I'm wondering, as you're kind of wrapping this up, is how have you seen the difference now in your life as you've brought more joy?
Absolutely. I find if I did not do something during these 2 past years, which they started really, as if, you kind of lived in a world, and then all of a sudden, then you went into another world, and it was like living like a day and night. If I did not have the support, and if I did not really go through this process of understanding what is important to me, how can I ground myself, and how can I think about every day as being a gift, my life would have been much more difficult, and maybe I would not be in the place where I'm today, where really, despite of difficulties and challenges, as we said, because there is no one in this world who doesn't have it, and everybody has their own challenges, and yes, some might be different from others, but we experience it the same way internally. So I find it would have been much more difficult. And again, from a personal level, which is not going to be that enjoyable with my family, but also from a professional level where there has been very, very challenging time. And for us working, I personally work in the not-for-profit world, where we work with limited resources while we want to really reach out to people and help more with our resources. It would have been really, really much more difficult.
Well, thank you for summarizing that and kind of bringing it all kind of into perspective on how everything would have been harder without this joy aspect. And so I will take that personally as a reminder to focus on my joy every day. I know that that's something that I'm always looking to improve and expand. So I think that this has been a great inspiration for everybody listening to really get that reminder as well. So I know you wanted to talk about the organization that you work with, the Arthritis Society. So I'm wondering if you'd like to just share a little bit about that before we close out today.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I will take the opportunity, and I thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity, Sarah. I wanted to just bring it to everyone and say I'm really thankful and I'm grateful that I have the opportunity of working in the not-for-profit sector, and I've been working for the not-for-profit sector for over 20 years now. And Arthritis Society, the organization I'm working with, is a national healthcare charity, which is fueled by donors and volunteers with a mission to fight the fire of arthritis with a fire of research, advocacy, innovation, information, and support. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to not only, thank God for the opportunity of giving me the opportunity of working with the Arthritis Society, but thank everyone who supports Arthritis Society, being a donor level volunteer, participating in different events, because it makes such a big difference in what we can provide for people who suffer from arthritis, which is about 6 million Canadians as we speak, and which means 1 in 5 adults. And up to 25,000 children, if you think about it, because people think arthritis is an old age disease. And it's kind of anticipated to reach out 9 million by 2040. So we all need to do something about it. Yeah.
Well, and I think what I will do is I'll link the Arthritis Society website. This is for the Canadian organization. I imagine there are other organizations across the globe, but I'll specifically link the Arthritis Society for Canada here below the video. So anybody listening, you can explore the resources and all the information there.
Great. Thank you very much, Sarah.
No problem. So thank you, Aida. It's been an honor to chat with you today, to hear some of your wisdom and your takeaways that other leaders can benefit from as they're building more and more joy into their day, just so that life and their personal life and work life can be easier and more fun all along the way. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate it.
It's been great. Thank you.